Paper plays an important role in many of the activities we participate in every day. It's lightweight, easily storable, and reusable. In the United States, an estimated 85 million tons of paper are used yearly, about 650 pounds per person. The history of paper journeys through thousands of years' worth of societal evolution. Long before the invention of paper, humans used other materials to record things: clay tablets, papyrus, and parchment or vellum. Regardless of its material, paper and its predecessors proved to be an essential medium for communication and sharing knowledge. But how is paper made in an era with such high demand for the seemingly inconsequential? Modern paper manufacturing is a multi-step industrial process. This process transforms raw materials into the final paper product we use in everyday life. Pulpwood is the primary raw material used, but to begin the process, loggers are sent out to cut down trees. Pulpwood is best defined as timber that has been ground and processed into fibrous pulp. Two types of trees are used to make pulp: softwood and hardwood. Some of the most commonly used softwood trees include spruce, pine, larch, and hemlock. Hardwood trees are much harder to process, but trees such as aspen and birch are still added into the mix. Once the trees have been cut, the logs are fed into a debarking machine. Rotating drums and mechanical flies work to strip the bark from the logs. Bark can contaminate the pulp and affect the quality of the paper, so it's important to get rid of it now. After removing the bark, the logs are fed into another machine, a chipper. This machine uses rotating blades to cut the logs into small-sized chips. Cutting the logs into smaller bite-sized pieces makes the pulping process easier. Pulping is the process of breaking down the wood chips into individual cellulose fibers. This can be achieved through mechanical or chemical processes. During mechanical pulping, wood chips are ground into a pulp by heavy stones or discs. This method is intensive but causes the pulp to have shorter fiber strands, leading to weaker sheets of paper. More often, chemical pulping is the preferred method of paper making. The conversion of wood chips into pulp will take place in a long tubular vessel known as a digester. Inside these machines, lignin, a natural glue, is removed from the wood chips to free the wood fibers. After the separation, the pulp is washed to remove residual chemicals and dissolve lignin. The pulp is then poured into vibrating screens or centrifugal cleaners to remove any impurities that may be left over. The invention of paper, pulp specifically, is accredited to the Chinese. Kai Lun was a Chinese court official in 105 CE. He used a mixture of macerated mulberry bark, hemp, rags, and fish nets to create a pulp. He would spread this mixture out on a flat surface to dry into thin sheets. By the 7th century, paper-making techniques had spread from China to Korea and Japan. By the 8th century, Arab traders who learned the skill of paper-making from Chinese prisoners established the first paper mills in the Middle East. Despite the slow adoption of papermaking, the skill and product revolutionized our way of tracking data, communicating, and recording history. Despite ancient ways of papermaking stopping after the pulp has been processed, the modern process continues. Processed pulp, which is now called stock, is placed in a beater or pulper. This process adds water to the stock to create a slurry. The slurry is then passed through refiners, a machine using rotating discs or cones to fibrillate the fibers. Refining the slurry enhances their bonding ability and improves the overall strength and quality of the paper. At this point in the process, various additives and fillers are mixed into the pulp to give the paper color, certain opacity, and water resistance. After the desired fillers have been added to the stock and mixed inside a blender or mixer, the prepared stock is now ready to be formed into sheets of paper. A paper machine is key to this process and includes several different sections. The head box of the paper machine distributes the slurry evenly across the width of the machine. It controls the flow and consistency of the slurry to create level sheets. The fourdrinier table is a moving mesh belt that allows water to drain from the stock. The fibers will begin to form one long continuous sheet. The sheet of wet paper is then passed through a series of press rollers. These rollers will remove additional water and consolidate the fibers. After pressing, the sheet will still contain a lot of water. Because of this, the sheet of paper will be passed through a series of large, steam-heating drying cylinders to evaporate any remaining moisture. The final step of the paper machine is the calendering section. The sheet of paper, now dried, is fed through calendar rolls to smooth and compress the sheet to the desired thickness. For certain types of paper, additional surface treatments are applied. This can affect the smoothness, gloss, or printability of the paper. The coating machine will add clay, latex, or starch to the paper using a roll coater or blade coater. The coatings will fill in surface irregularities and improve the paper's appearance and performance. For high gloss finishes, the paper will undergo supercalendering. This process passes the paper through a stack of alternating hard and soft rollers. Before the paper can be cut and packaged, it will go through a series of quality control checks. Advanced sensors and cameras will check each sheet of paper for irregularities, holes, or discrepancies in size, thickness, and color. If the sheet passes inspection, it will be wound into a large reel. The reels are then cut into smaller rolls according to customer specifications. The final product will then be packaged and prepared for shipment to distributors and end users. The 19th century Industrial Revolution brought many significant innovations to the paper-making process. It wasn't until the mid-19th century that the use of wood pulp became common. Previously, pulp was more commonly created using rags rather than wood chips. This significantly lowered production costs and made the paper more accessible to the common man. The adoption of paper was versatile and raised the literacy and education rates worldwide. With more information available now than ever, the adoption of paper, paper presses, and ink changed how our world worked. From its beginnings in ancient China to its pivotal role in the information age, paper has become an essential product for everybody around the world.